Hi everyone, for today's art project we are going to be learning about paper weaving. For this project you are going to need a scissors, construction paper, and some glue. So if you are in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade, you might want to try a more advanced weaving like this one. If you are one of our kindergarten or pre-K learners, you might want to try a more simple one. The only real difference is the size of the strips that you're going to weave in, and follow along the video to see how I make both of them. Okay, today we are going to start our paper weaving. To make your paper weaving, you're going to need 2 pieces of paper in different colors. So one piece of paper is going to stay whole. That's my black paper. The other paper is going to get cut into strips. So I have these strips that are different colors, but you don't need different colors. You can just take another paper, cut it into strips so that you have strips. This black paper is going to be our weaving mat. We need to cut strips inside of the paper, but we don't want it to go off the edge. So here's a little trick to do this. I am going to fold my paper in half. Now, for weaving, we could do straight lines or wavy lines. I think it looks a little bit cooler when they're wavy, so I'm gonna draw wavy lines. Our line is gonna start on the folded side of the paper, so I'm gonna make a wavy line, and I'm gonna stop a little bit before I get to the open side, okay? So this side goes all the way to the edge, this side stops a little bit, and you can do straight lines or wavy lines. I'm gonna do wavy lines all the way to the top. About 1, 2, 3, and they don't have to be even. They can be close together, they can be separated. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got about 9 wavy lines. If you only squeeze in 7 or 8, that's fine. And now I'm gonna cut right on all of those lines. And when I open it, what's gonna happen is there's gonna be slits in the middle of the paper, but the whole thing is going to still be connected as one paper. If when you open it, anything falls off, it means you kind of cut too far to the edge, and you are gonna have to start over. So I'm cutting out all my papers, all my wavy stripes. Almost done. And we have 2 more. Just pay attention. I'm just stopping where my line stops. I don't cut off the paper. If you cut it off, the whole piece is gonna disconnect, and we want it to stay attached. So now I just cut my last line. I'm gonna open my paper back up, and now you can see it has all these pretty waves. Okay, now it's time to start the weaving process. Weaving is pretty simple. It's just an over-under pattern. It doesn't matter if you're using paper, if you're using yarn. You're gonna take your first piece of color paper. I'm gonna put it over the first black stripe, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one. So now that piece is woven in, and it's kind of hanging out in the middle of my black paper now, but I want to move it all the way to the edge. So I am just going to go slide it as far to the edge as it will go. You might have to wiggle it around a little bit It's not going to go all the way to the edge because our cuts don't go all the way to the edge, which is what we want. So I am going to put some glue right under the bottom piece so it sticks in place, and a little bit in the back over there. And I'm just going to press down. You can use liquid glue or glue stick for this. Hold it in place for a second, and now it's time to weave in our next color. Now, I'm using different color papers. You can use one color the whole time and it's still gonna look really awesome. I can see that my first paper, this pink one, I started over the black line. It's sticking up right there, which means I need to do the opposite with my next one. My first orange is gonna start by going under the black. Over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over. Now I'm just gonna pull it so it's gonna go right up next to that pink one. Push, 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 gotta fuss it into space. All right, and now it is right next to the pink one. Time for my glue. And you only need to put the glue at the very top, a little drop at the very top to hold it in place, and a little drop to hold it in place at the very bottom. So we are ready for our next color. Once again, you don't have to use different colors. You could weave with one color and it will still look great. So my orange started under my black. So my yellow has to start on top of my black. Over my black, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one. Now I'm going to use my fingers to just push it so that it's all the way next to the orange. And then I am going to put a little glue right under the strip on the bottom. You just need a tiny drop. Push it down so it stays in place. And one right back here. To keep that one in place. At this point, you are going to continue that entire pattern under, over, switching off each time until the end. You'll know that you're doing it correctly if it kind of has this checkerboard pattern. If you do it incorrectly and you do the same pattern in a row, meaning the yellow started over and I put one over again, you're gonna see two colors next to each other instead of the black and colored pattern. So it's pretty easy to spot your mistakes. So I'm gonna go continue to weave the rest of my paper. Okay, so now my weaving is all done and all I have to do is go trim my edges to cut away all the strips that are sticking off. They're already glued in place, so nothing should be moving around. And I'm just gonna go with my scissors across the bottom. And now I'm gonna flip it around and go right across the top and get rid of those edges. And now my paper weaving is done. It is great to use as art on your wall, just like this. If you were to have a laminator, which I know nobody does, but if you did, you could turn it into placemats. And another thing that you could even do with it is turn it into a basket. To do that, you need to have either tape or a stapler at home, but you can basically just fold it in half and staple your edges and leave the top open so that you have like a nice little pouch. So you could tape those sides closed or staple them, and then you would have a nice little pouch to store maybe some of your other artwork. So that is your paper weaving.